Hi, for this video I'll be doing an unboxing and first impressions of the ZTE Imperial Max smartphone. To start off, I'll show the exterior of the box before proceeding to unbox it completely. To start off, we have the ZTE branding and the distribution by US Cellular, and the model of the phone itself, which is the ZTE Imperial Max. Then we have a picture of the front and back of the smartphone. If we look on the back of the box itself, we'll see the contents of the box. This is just a list of what you'll find inside, which is the handset, the Type-C USB cable, the travel charger, the pre-installed nano SIM, quick start guide, and the product safety and warranty documentation. Other than that, we'll also have the FCC Equipment Authorization ID number, which you can basically look up on the FCC ID website, which will then give you more information about a smartphone itself. These are usually specifications and tests that aren't listed on a box or on the official marketing website. On the right side of the box, we have the specifications of the device itself, which is for the CPU, we have the Snapdragon 615 processor, which is an octa-core. We have 4 cores at 1.7 GHz and another 4 cores at 1 GHz. And then for the platform, Android 5.1 Lollipop, memory, 16 GB internal memory, 2 GB of RAM, and support for a microSD card up to 128 GB. This pretty much indicates that it supports SDXC. And then the size, 165mm by 83mm by 8.8mm. And then for the display, we have 6 inches, and it's a 1920 by 1080 Full HD display and a capacitive touchscreen, as expected with pretty much any modern smartphone. For network, we have 4G LTE with support for bands 2, 4, 5, 12, 13, 17, and 25. One thing of note is band 12 to 700 MHz, which generally has better range. So in areas where you have less coverage, you'll have a better chance at actually getting coverage with band 12. Then we have GPS, connectivity, USB Type-C, and then for Wi-Fi, we have 802.11b, G, and N. The Snapdragon 615 chipset supports 802.11ac also, but for this one, they only list 802.11n support. So I'm not completely sure if it'll support 802.11ac or not, but that'll be something I'll test a little bit later. And we have Bluetooth 4.1. For the camera, we have a 13 megapixel rear camera, an additional 2 megapixel rear camera. And then for the front camera, we have a 5 megapixel front-facing camera. And then for the audio, you have a standard 3.5mm headset jack, and 2 microphones, and FM radio. If you look on the other side of the box, you just have the model information itself. And if you look at the top of the box, we have information that's unique to the device itself. So we have the IMEI number, the SAP ID, MEID number, UPC, and the ICC ID number, as well as the SKU. I have these pretty much blurred out because a lot of it's unique to this device. On the bottom of the device itself, we just have the highlights, which are basically restating some of the specifications and elaborating on them a bit more, but in a non-technical manner. So I'll just proceed to complete the unboxing. As we slide the cover off, we are presented with the front of the phone itself, as we can see here. And there's a little pull tab which allows us to completely lift the phone. I'll just set that off to the side for now, while I look at the other stuff that's in the box itself. So here, as mentioned on the box itself, we had the quick start guide and the product safety and warranty documentation. I'll just set those off to the side. And now, I'll just look at the charger that it comes with. Let's see if it's what it supports. Okay, so even though the Snapdragon 615 processor supports, or that the SoC supports Quick Charge 2.0, this charger is not Quick Charge 2.0 enabled. Instead, it just provides a basic output of 5 volts at 1.5 amps. And that's how it looks. And here we have our USB Type-C cable. And that's pretty much all there is in the box. So now, without further delay, I'll get a closer look at the smartphone itself. I'll just take it out of the packaging. And we have our protective film on the front of the device. I'll just peel that off and place that over here. And on the back of the device, we have another protective film. I'll just peel that off too. And also the US Cellular logo again. And now to take a closer look at the smartphone itself. Here we can see two rear-facing cameras. The camera on the top is a 2 megapixel camera, and the camera on the bottom is a 13 megapixel camera. In between both cameras, we can see the rear LED flash, and to the right side of the 2 megapixel camera, we can see the microphone. Below all of that, we have a mirrored finish on the ZTE logo, as you can see here. And if we move towards the bottom of the device itself, the bottom rear portion, we have the 4G LTE logo, the US Cellular logo, and a sticker containing some unique information to the device itself, which is the IMEI number, the ICC ID, the serial number, and the model number. On the right side of the smartphone, we're presented with the volume control buttons as well as the power button. On the left side of the smartphone, we have a tray that serves two purposes. It holds our SIM card as well as our microSD card. At the top of the smartphone, we find a 3.5mm headset jack. For my testing, it handled 62 ohm impedance headphones with no problem. On the bottom of the smartphone, we find a USB Type-C connector as well as two speaker grills. Even though there are two speaker grills, there's only one speaker in this smartphone and is located on the right side of the device. On the front of the smartphone, we have our front-facing 5 megapixel camera, the earpiece speaker, the 6-inch 1080p display, and the capacitive buttons. I will now power the device on for the first time and see how long the boot up process takes. It is now done starting up, and overall the process was fairly quick. I'll just go through the setup and skip a few of the steps. And I don't think this will activate because I don't have a plan with them yet. I'll disconnect some of my access points. I currently have multiple up because I'm also doing some network testing. It's now in Wi-Fi. I'll just skip the Google account setup and just get to the desktop or home screen view as fast as possible. There's some bloatware installed, but it's not as bad as many of the other phones that I've seen. So overall, it's pretty good. After about 1 day of use, my first impressions of this smartphone are pretty positive. I was pleasantly surprised to see slightly better specifications than what was listed on the box, which includes a slightly better Snapdragon 617 SoC, as well as 82.11ac, which is provided by a single-stream Wi-Fi radio, which allows for a maximum link rate of 433 megabits per second. This provides a sustained real-world throughput of a little over 200 megabits per second. For a mid-range smartphone, the display is also very good. There is almost no color or contrast shift from off-axis viewing. And while full display specifications were not advertised, from my testing, it is fairly well calibrated from the factory, with good color accuracy and coverage of the sRGB color space. Contrast ratio is also very good, and color accuracy remains largely consistent across the entire luminance range. The camera provides fairly good color accuracy and acceptable amounts of detail, but the noise reduction, as part of the built-in JPEG processing that the camera does, tends to hold it back a little bit. The reason for this is that the noise reduction often sacrifices fine detail in favor of reducing noise and grain in the image. Even at ISOs below 200, this noise reduction takes place. I have yet to find a smartphone camera which does a good job at noise reduction. Furthermore, the lack of camera raw means that there is not much the user can do to avoid some of the side effects of the noise reduction. Video capture provides clean results with a decent amount of detail, though the lack of optical image stabilization means that you'll have to be a little bit more careful about how you walk when recording video. The only thing I would really change about the video capture would be the default level of sharpening that's applied to the video. On a final note, I wanted to take a closer look and see if some of the pre-installed bloatware can be removed from this phone without having root access. So, I basically just went into the application settings and proceeded to try and uninstall some of the programs. And so far it seems that a lot of the bloatware can be removed, which is really good news, especially since this device only has 16 gigabytes of internal storage, with a little over 9 gigabytes being user accessible. And that's almost all of it.